You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney. Today we are here to recap what happened on the December 22nd edition of Friday Night Smackdown. If you like these YouTube originals, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to check out our podcast where we talk sports, boxing, and MMA, and even some WWE. This week we will have an episode on Raw Day 1. We'll have a preview of that, and we will have some Royal Rumble conversation. But first, we got to get into tonight's Smackdown, which opened up with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. He came out, he's wearing all black now, and he's pissed. He talked about how him, Randy Orton, LA Knight, they all want a piece of Roman at the Rumble, but he does not give a shit about them. He only cares about himself in the way that any good heel would. They're not supposed to care what other people think, feel, do. They're only supposed to care about themselves and advance in their own agenda. So, good start for AJ Styles in the heel department. While he's talking, L.A. Knight interrupts him and says a lot of the same stuff that AJ Styles was saying, how, I'm the one worthy of the shot. You can wait till after I'm done. What happened to me at Crown Jewel? They all, a lot of people who face Roman can have a similar story to the next guy who may want to face Roman and has a beef with him. So they're all quite upset with Roman, and they won his belt. That's a real big shocker there. AJ is pissed that LA Knight took his spot in the match with John Cena, and I guess that's why he doesn't like him. I don't know, but Randy Orton, I hear voices in my head hits. He comes out, and he says, wait, hold up. The Bloodline kept me out for 18 months. They took me out. I'm getting my get back, basically. Arguments ensue for a little bit until SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis comes out from the back, announces, hey, we're going to do Smackdown New Year's Revolution event. Yeah, kind of similar to the Day 1 event, so they're trying to sprinkle in some special events between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble, which is around 2 months. So I understand, and I kind of appreciate them trying to sprinkle in some meaningful matches and events instead of just a whole bunch of filler and killing time until the Royal Rumble. While he's out there, Nick Aldis announces, on that event at that SmackDown, I believe it's just 2 weeks from now, it will be a triple threat match for the opportunity to face Roman Reigns at that Rumble. It'll be Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. If you're asking me right now on the spot, who do I think wins? I still think it's Randy Orton. He has what seems like all the momentum, and these other two guys have somewhat come out of nowhere to steal the opportunity that was basically promised by Nick Aldis when he signed his SmackDown contract. So I do think it will be Randy Orton, and this LA Knight and AJ Styles beef could continue on to maybe the Elimination Chamber or something along those lines. But who knows? They could go a lot of different ways with this. AJ finished with a warning to the two men, that being Randy Orton and LA Knight, saying, if you come around the ring during my match tonight, which he had a match for the main event, which was already announced, him versus Solo Sikoa, if you show your face during that, then he's going to drop you. He'll drop everybody. I'll drop anyone, anytime, anywhere, anyplace. So don't be surprised when you catch a phenomenal forearm to the side of your face. They followed this segment up with a Holiday Havoc 8-woman tag match that probably no one really cared about, but it wasn't that bad. Shotzi, Michin, Bianca Belair, and Zelina Vega versus Damage Control. Like, we haven't seen some formulation of this match over and over again. But now there's just no Charlotte Flair to add into the mix. It started off with a 4-on-4 brawl. They had steel chairs wrapped as presents. A bunch of weapons were involved in just chaotic, time-consuming match. Crazy stuff was literally happening the entire time. It was hard to keep up with. At one point, Io had a present on her head, like a box wrapped in blue wrapping paper that Bianca Belair had put on her head. She gets on Bianca's shoulders, and Shotzi literally kicks her face off with a drop kick from the top rope. Looked nasty. Kairi Sane then punches through a present, pulls out a garbage can lid, and almost cut Shotzi's head off with the side of the garbage can lid, which was kind of nuts. Asuka used the mist because why not? It seems like her or Shinsuke is using it every week now, so we're not getting tired of that at all, of course. The two girls from the Unholy Union popped out of boxes, yippee, and in the end, Michin leg dropped Io Sky through a table, scored the pin on her, which I thought was a little shocking at the time, but turns out they were just setting up a match for the two at New Year's Revolution, and that was the Holiday Havoc match. Next, we get a Bloodline segment, which is always a shining moment, always has my full undivided attention because I mean, I acknowledge my tribal chief. I don't know about anyone else out there, but this podcast acknowledges their tribal chief. Jimmy Uso cracks me up every time he's on screen. Always talking about audibles, hot routes, thinks he's the quarterback, or I don't know what's going on. It always has me dying. Roman has no idea who Nick Aldis is or who the GM of SmackDown is. Wants the wise man to bring him to him. The wise man says, hey, my tribal chief, I don't know if you know anything about him. And he just says, listen, I don't really give a shit. Bring Nick Aldis to me. Then it was Dragon Lee, Butch for the NXT North American Championship. Lots of nifty wrestling in this one. Butch is obsessed with breaking people's fingers. It's just his thing. I mean, he constantly just spams that move, which I respect it. Dragon Lee eventually retained his title. Thought it was a good match all in all. If you didn't see, go back and watch it. If you're into cool, technical wrestling, it was a pretty good match. Shook hands at the end because sportsmanship is the most important thing. It's the only thing that matters. So we move on. Nick Aldis made his way finally to go see the tribal chief. Aldis does his best to alpha the tribal chief throughout the entire segment. Does a pretty good job doing it. Roman tells him he wants stuff to be run by him, like matches and things of that nature. He's the tribal chief. I mean, of course, you should do that. That's how it's always been. That's how Adam Pearce did it. Nick Aldis, obviously, you don't fuck with Adam Pearce. So he's like, dude, listen, don't insult me. We don't do it like that. I'm Nick Aldis. I'm the general manager of SmackDown. I wear the pants here. You know, he kind of dissed Roman for the way Solo handled Cena and said, you know, you couldn't even really do it like that. I mean, he put Cena out. And I thought that was a nice little dig. Kind of just flexed on him the entire segment, which left Roman just twitching with anger and just so violently angry. Which, I mean, it's funny when the acting for Roman is always on par. He's always going to pump the dramatics as much as he possibly can. I cannot wait to see where they go with this whole, you know, Nick Aldis anti-bloodline sort of situation. So, and honestly, just love Nick Aldis as an authority figure around SmackDown. And now it was time for the Kevin Owens Carmelo Hayes match. This being for the semifinals of the U.S. Championship Tournament. This is another one where you kind of knew where this was going, who was going to win before it really even started. Classic like rookie versus grizzled vet match. Carmelo Hayes had his moments here and there, but in the end kind of got overpowered by KO, and Owens moved on to the finals. This is a pretty good match as well. Thought it was entertaining, and I think it made Carmelo Hayes look pretty good, which I think was the point. So they showed the OC meeting back up with AJ in the back. First time he's been back, to see them. They don't really like him, the guys being Anderson and Gallows, and he don't really like them. He don't really mess with them no more because he's a bad guy. So just kind of how it's going to be. I don't know what they're going to do to rectify that. Next, we move to the other U.S. Championship semifinal, which was Bobby Lashley and Santos Escobar. Just like to point out that Bobby Lashley is the largest human being ever. I did not know you could be that husky, and I also just love his theme. I think it's so menacing. I love how the fans, even though he's a heel, refuse to boo him. He just gets cheers everywhere he goes. And he honestly deserves them. He's the almighty. They snuck in a Karrion Kross video at some point after the commercial. I don't really care about him until he starts winning matches. Back to the semifinal match, which was basically just Lashley tossing Santos around like he was a child. Eventually, two dudes in luchador masks came out of the crowd and started whooping on the Street Profits. This got Bobby Lashley all distracted. Santos used the distraction, rolled him up, picked the W up, which was something I did not expect. I don't know. I guess I thought Bobby Lashley was just going to win because, he's Bobby Lashley. The two men were revealed as Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, who we haven't seen in a little bit, so now Santos has a little crew to do his dirty work, which I kind of like. KO and Santos will now see each other at New Year's Revolution. Butch gets a match with an opponent of his choosing against Pretty Deadly. Yippee. Who really cares about that? That's going to also be at New Year's Revolution. There was a Logan Paul hype video where he was just talking shit about Santos, said KO is the living embodiment of Reddit, which is, I get some crazy disrespectful thing to say. Then we finally got the main event, AJ Styles, Solo Sikoa. I didn't really care what happened here because I kind of knew that AJ can't lose. They have setting up that triple threat in 2 weeks. Can't really have him go in with a clean loss to Solo Sikoa. I think that's pretty obvious. He looked good, that being AJ. is moving well, and is obviously in phenomenal shape, no pun intended, which was apparent last week when they showed him just take his shirt off, and he's absolutely jacked. All this stuff looked good, and this match was pretty good for as long as it lasted. Then Roman hit the ring, blindsided AJ, bell rings, DQ. AJ wins on a DQ, but it didn't really matter after that. AJ fought back, then Solo kind of hopped back into the ring. The beatdown started. Randy's music, not AJ, Randy's music hits. He comes down to make the save. He starts beating the hell out of Roman and Solo. While he's doing that, Jimmy comes out of nowhere. He hits the ring. Now the numbers are back in the Bloodline's favor. They're beating everybody up, which, can only mean LA Knight has to make the save, and he did. Comes to save the day. All the baby faces send the Bloodline out of the ring, leaving only the triple threat participants still chilling in the ring to then start arguing. AJ's like, yo, why did you come down? I told you not to come down. Randy's like, what are you talking about, bro? You're getting your ass beat. You were going to get your ass beat. Then LA Knight involves himself in the argument. AJ turns around and goes, you know what, LA Knight, shut the fuck up. Punches him in the face. And then the three started brawling while the Bloodline was like going to join. And then Roman holds him back and says, yo, let them beat the shit out of each other. Let them do their thing in there. And as the show goes off the air, all three of these guys are just beating the holy hell out of each other. And that was SmackDown from, I believe, Green Bay. This was a taped SmackDown. It was aired on December 22nd. You could tell it was kind of taped. It just seemed like the crowd was not into it. Maybe they were tired. This is the second show they had seen that night. I don't know how exactly the order of things went, but you could just tell it wasn't your normal Friday Night SmackDown audience. It was a little bit of a more tame and just kind of, you could tell there was obvious points in some of the videos and some of the segments where they were pumping in crowd noise. It was a little bit of a weird vibe, but all in all, I thought it was a good show. Accomplished a couple of the goals that needed to be done. They're going to have off next week. They're going to have two different best of shows. It's going to be best of Monday Night Raw for 2023 and best of SmackDown for 2023. So don't expect anything real big or good next week. It's going to be a slower week. Enjoy your Christmas, everyone out there. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, this little YouTube original. I would give the show a 6 out of 10, by the way. I want to sneak that in there. I did give it a rating, but if you like this, please comment, subscribe, like it, give us any sort of feedback. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Matt McSweeney. This has been a Hot Take Hotbox YouTube original.
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hotbox.